Hello, wrestling fans. Blake Smith from Walking the Ropes, and welcome to another episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review for AEW Double or Nothing from Las Vegas. To open the show, we had Hookhausen and Tony Nese, or Hookhausen, Danhausen, and Hook versus Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling. My pick for this match was Hookhausen. This is obviously on the buy-in, and this match was exactly what I think all of us expected it to be. Hook and Nese were the serious performers. Danhausen and Mark Sterling were the exact opposite. Danhausen starts out trying to right the loss he suffered against Nese by cursing him. Nese gets annoyed and starts to beat down Danhausen and has to fight to the tag. Hook then accidentally tags, or sorry, not Hook. Mark accidentally tags himself in, and Hook takes care of him right away. He then does a slice the throat motion on him, and Danhausen pins him for the win. My WTR scale, I gave that a good. It was a very good way to have a bring you in kind of match. We then get the match probably all of us didn't think we were actually going to get. MJF versus Wardlow. MJF genuinely showed up to the surprise of many, and he tries his best to get ahead of Wardlow. Obviously, I picked Wardlow to win here. I think every single person did pick Wardlow to win here. Trying to fake an injury, MJF pulls the ring out of his tights, but the ref and Wardlow see it. It doesn't take long for Wardlow to fire up the symphony to hit, I believe, 13 power bombs. He gets the win, and right after it's announced that he is all elite. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. We then get Elite versus Delete, the Young Bucks versus the Hardy Boys. If you have never seen the Bucks or the Hardys perform in the ring, watching them against each other is probably the best thing ever. They are so similar and know each other so well. It is amazing. This match is a classic. They both go back and forth, and the Hardys really impress in the ring. Both teams shine, hitting the best hits and doing what they can to make the Bucks pay to eat their words. They throw absolutely everything at each other. The Bucks hit the Hardys' big moves, and the Hardys go non-stop with hard shots. They even then take a super kick party and even ask for it, but they just won't die. Just when it looks like the Bucks have it won, the Hardys take control once again and make the Bucks eat their words with the Swanton and Twist of Fate combo for the win. My WTR scale, I gave that a great. We then get the first title match of the night, the TBS Championship, Jade Cargill defending against Anna Jay. These two have the first title match tonight, like I just said, and Anna wants to start strong. She quickly runs into Jade's hard-hitting shots. Jade takes control from the start, and Anna eventually tosses Jade off the top rope to be able to get going. The baddies, though, proved to be the difference maker, and it looked like Anna was about to win when the baddies, Mark Sterling, and a debuting Stokely Hathaway, which, if you don't know, was Malcolm Bivens in NXT, they all come out kind of separately. They cause the distraction and allow for an avalanche Jaded for the win. After the match, though, Statlander comes out to stop a potential beatdown, and then, to even the odds, Athena comes out to really just get in the face of Jade, and I think she's going to be the one to take the TBS title. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. We then get a trios match, Death Triangle versus the House of Black. If you want to see non-stop action, this is a good place to start. Both teams have a score to settle and will stop at nothing to make it hurt. Phoenix and Black start out with the back and forth action, and neither team can really gain control for long as the other team put a stop to it. The House of Black starts a comeback after weathering a storm, and we eventually get a moment where everyone goes over the top rope, including King, who almost, I'd say, cracked his neck off of the apron. The Death Triangle work quickly and almost get it won, but after battling on the apron, when Pac goes to the top rope, the lights go out, and Julia Hart appears and spits the mist in Pac's eyes, and Black hits the big spinning heel kick for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. We then get the first Owen Hart Men's Foundation tournament final, the first final. The conclusion for both of them is tonight, and I couldn't think of a better group of guys to represent Owen. They waste no time going hard from the gate. They go back and forth, and for sure would have made Owen proud to have represented him. Joe wants to make Cole hurt, and he is doing just that by tossing him around the ring. Cole, though, starts to target the shoulder of Joe and gets control as he delivers the big boot. Joe looks like he has it won when Bobby Fish causes the distraction, allowing for Cole to gain control for a moment, and he almost hits the boom, but Joe ducked it only for a moment as Cole then fights back and wears Joe down with some super kicks, followed by the boom for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. We then get the next final, Dr. Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. Both women get extravagant entrances, but Ruby's is way better as she gets Rancid to play her to the ring. Ruby has been struggling to get the win when it comes, when it counts since coming to AEW, and tonight looks to be the night that will change. These two seem to hate one another and want to beat the crap out of each other. They start out slow and go back and forth, but neither gains control for long. Eventually, though, Britt gains control and starts to wear down Soho with different submissions. So Ruby, though, fights hard and is able to get going again, just fighting through the pain, and Britt won't give up. She goes to lock the lockjaw in, but Ruby fights out, and they continue the back and forth when Ruby goes for a sharpshooter, but Britt fights to the ropes. Ruby then has a change of tactics. She goes for a victory roll, and Britt sees it coming, basically. She rolls through and gets the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. The power couple of AEW wins the tournament. After Britt's match, Martha Hart comes out to award she and Adam their championships and the trophy. She gave a great speech, and I think to sum it up, Owen would be extremely proud of what this tournament became. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. We then get the trios intergender match. Ty Conti, Sammy Guevara, and Frankie Kazarian versus Paige Van Sant, Scorpio Sky, and Ethan Page. These two teams have a genuine hate for each other. Having stolen the belts from ATT, the Men of the Year and Paige Van Sant are looking to take back their property and make their opponents pay for what they have been saying and doing. We start out quickly with both teams getting in hard shots. After a lot of back and forth action, though, Paige and Ty finally enter. Paige actually controls Ty and impresses me in the ring. Sammy and Ty, though, start to love each other a little too much, and their own teammate has had enough, and he leaves them high and dry for a beating, and then tags in when he thinks he can get the win. It doesn't work, and Sammy ends up super kicking Ty by accident, and Sky hits the TKO on Kaz for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a good. It's pretty much exactly what I expected it to be, although Paige did impress me very much. We then get the match that kind of just happened on, or kind of got announced on Rampage. Darby Allin versus Kyle O'Reilly. This match came out of nowhere, but I'm not complaining as these are two amazing performers. Kyle feeds Darby with a big knee early, and Darby gets busted open. Darby, though, doesn't care. He starts hitting dives to the outside. He crashes and burns and then fights through and hits another one. They then stop at nothing, just want to hurt each other. Darby hits the coffin drop on the apron and then goes for another one inside, but Kyle catches it, and they just beat the shit out of each other. Kyle, though, starts to choke Darby with the chain that I think Darby said he's had on forever. And it breaks, and Kyle hits a big knee drop for the win from the top rope. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. We are going to be doing something with Darby and Kyle and the Undisputed Elite, I believe, here. I just don't know what. We then get our AEW Women's World Championship match. Thunder Rosa defending against Serena Deeb. Rosa is defending for the second time, and I thought it was the third time or even the fourth time, but I was wrong, and it is against a tough challenger, as Deeb is one of the most, if not the most, impressive technical performers in the ring. They start out slow with the feeling out process and seeing just what the other is made of. After going back and forth in the ring and neither really having the edge, Rosa starts to roll and looks to end it when Deeb just stops her dead and locks in a figure 4 and starts to slap the shit out of one another. Deeb takes out Rosa on the apron and then hits the Deeb Talks in the ring for a near fall, follows it up with the Serenity Lock, and she changes for a Texas Cloverleaf, and Rosa fights out, and they go to the top rope where Rosa hits a superplex followed by the Fire Thunder Driver for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. That was a great defense by Rosa, and I am excited to see if we're going to start seeing her on TV more. Maybe they just didn't have programs for her lined up. Maybe some of the new debuts will be doing it. I don't know. We then get the Anarchy in the arena, and as the dapper yapper Justin Roberts tells us, shit's about to hit the fan. The JAS come out, then the Blackpool Combat Club come out to Moxley's music and start to brawl, and the music doesn't stop. They brawl anywhere but the ring for most of the start of the match, and just, well, Anarchy. I can't describe it any better. There's zero wrestling, it's just all chaos. In the ring, finally, for this match, to have been in the ring for this match, arena for this match would have been epic. Jericho eventually finds the soundboard that is playing Moxie's music and breaks it. If you can believe it, that's when shit gets even worse. In a sense, ripped straight from in a scene stripped right from a horror movie, a bloodied Eddie Kingston stumbles his way down the ramp with a jerry can. He pours it on Jericho, who's in the label lock, and then he's also pouring it on Bryan. So Bryan gets up, and Kingston and Bryan start to argue. The JAS take advantage of this argument, and they make them pay and choke out Bryan with the now detached ropes. I believe that was Moxley's doing, and they get the win. Seriously, go watch this match. I was only able to describe like this much of this much. For my WTR scale, I gave it a great. We then get our a triple threat or three-way tag match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, and Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks. Wow. If the three-way match was any taste of what we're about to get, this is going to get nuts. All these teams are so impressive, and they all have the same similar makeup. Smaller guy and bigger guy. It works well. As you can see, these three teams go back and forth, and whenever a team gets going, the other team is there to just tag in and end any hope of a roll. Swerve in our glory is showing that they may be new, but they are here to dominate the tag division, and they want the gold. Lee just tosses Hobbs over the top rope and then goes flying himself. He then targets Luchasaurus, and then he ends the run, and they exchange hard shots in the middle of the ring. Starks tries to cheat, and Cage stops it, but gets tossed into the steps. Jungle Boy goes to check on him, and it almost costs him as Starks hits the Rochambeau, but Luchasaurus makes the save. Just when it looks like Team Taz's cheating is going to work, Jurassic Express is able to hit the Thoracic Express for the win. For my WTR scale, I gave that a great. I think that was exactly what we needed. I couldn't have. That was. I love it. Perfect. And finally, our main event, the AEW World Championship, Hangman Adam Page versus CM Punk. It's the Hangman, the Cowboy, defending against the best in the world. Adam says he's defending not his title tonight, but all of AEW from Punk. They start out the feeling out process and getting in each other's faces while they feel each other out here. The shots start to get harder, but still both are unable to get the edge in on the other as they have the answer. They have done their homework tonight for sure, and the crowd can't seem to decide who they want to win. And I think they'd almost just prefer there not be a winner and these two just fight forever. I can't say I disagree. These two are so great at telling a story. Page's knee is hurt and he can't fully hit the buckshot. Punk has it so well scouted he can pick Page up in the GTS, but Page has that well scouted too. Punk tries for a buckshot, but he can't get the rotation out of it. So we can't get all of it. But Punk is still calling for the end, and Page doesn't care. He ends up hitting a GTS of his own, but it's not enough. They spill to the outside, and he tosses Punk over the timekeeper's table and grabs the belt and says, Punk will never win this. He'll never hold this. He sets up for the buckshot in the ring, but Punk catches him and the ref gets knocked out. Page then wants to cheat with the belt, but decides to not, and then Punk makes him pay. He catches Page once again and hits the GTS for the win. We have a new AEW World Champion, CM Punk. It's amazing. For my WTR scale, I gave it an epic. Yeah, it broke out. It's the first one to do it. It's probably the best match. It's been amazing. I loved every second of it. But my overall for the show, I gave it a great. That Double or Nothing was fantastic. The match of the night is CM Punk versus Adam Page. The performers of the night is just all of AEW. Anybody who was involved in the production of that show, the whatever you want to call it, they did fantastic. But that is all for this episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review. Thank you all for dropping in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever we upload a video. And I'll see you in the next one.